You're on camera. Hey, this is Dave, and in this episode we're going to be working on the FPV video system, hooking up the camera, the video transmitter, and even working on the OSD a little bit. So let's get going.
This is Me RC.
Hey, this is Dave, and I'm glad you could drop in to see the next video in the series of the Ranger 2000 build project. So I'm going to be using this FPV canopy that came with the Ranger 2000 to hold my video battery, and I'll explain about that later. Also going to be using the Runcam Sparrow FPV cam, which has voltage ground, video, and audio out the back, and also features an OSD for the video battery readout. Going to be using also the Lawmate VTX, which is a 1.3 gigahertz VTX. And for the antenna, I'm going to be using this dipole. It's a Dragon Link dipole for 1.3 gigahertz, and it comes with a flexible cable. Well, I was having trouble with the Lawmate transmitter interfering with the GPS. No matter where I put the antenna or the GPS, it just kept ruining my satellite count. So I took it off and put on one of these digital brand transmitters, and the problem went away. I used a 400 milliwatt digital brand transmitter. This Lawmate was supposed to be 500, switchable to 1000. I tried both ways. It still interfered with the GPS. Now the reason I'm holding a GPS is because along the way I also replaced the Pixhawk GPS that I had with one of these from Banggood, which is supposed to pick up more satellites. And this is the cover for it right here, but I took it out and wired it up to my Pixhawk. So that's what I'm going to be using instead, and I'll put these on my blog so you can look at what I have. So I'm mounting the GPS in the same position as the other one in the foam piece that goes in the top of the plane right here. And I'm also going to put a little piece of foil over the bottom right here. I found that by testing that the foil does increase the satellite count. So I'm going to go ahead and put that right there before I stick it into the plane. Before mounting the video transmitter in the wing, I made a little aluminum heat sink for it. Just folded some flaps over. Basically this just goes in here, cable side out that way, and just put this around it like that. And this just started out as a square, and I just cut it with some tin snips. And there it is right there, and then the tie wrap can go right over this when I put it on the wing. So that'll let the air blow over this and cool it a little better. And here it is mounted on the wing right there with the antenna wire running down here to the dipole antenna. Those are LEDs. So instead of putting the camera here on the FPV canopy, I'm going to mount it into the hole that's provided by the manufacturer and use that instead. As far as the FPV canopy goes, I'm just using it to hold a video battery. Now I want to show you why I'm using a video battery, so let's take a look at the wiring diagram. This method keeps the video system separate from any noise created by the motors or servos, so the video is clean. And I'm doing that by not using the voltage from the Pixhawk, which has voltage from the flight battery. I'm not using that voltage to power the Minim OSD. Instead, I've got a separate UBEC and a separate battery. So you can see this schematic on my blog. Also, you have to solder the jumpers on the front and back of the Minim OSD. This is the old kind from Hobby King. And you have to cut the 12 volt etch right here. So that passes the 5 volts from the UBEC to both stages of the Minim OSD while not feeding the 12 volts back into it. The 12 volts is actually just going up here to the UBEC to power it. So that's how it all works. And this makes it easy to unplug your camera and replace it with a different camera, or unplug the video transmitter and replace it with a different transmitter. So this is my wiring harness here that goes between the video transmitter out on the wing here and to the OSD and camera here. So these two sockets right here accept the wires from the video transmitter on the wing. The first one has video and audio on it. The second one has voltage and ground, so this is 12 volts from my video battery. Now on the other end I have the wire from the transmitter that has voltage, ground, and video right here. And that will go ahead and plug onto the MinimOSD. And if you remember looking at the schematic, the one from the transmitter goes to the bottom plug. So I'll just go ahead and plug that on. Okay, so I've got that plugged on. Okay, now this wire from the cable, this one right here, goes to the audio on the camera because the camera has a mic. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in here to the camera. Okay, this goes to the battery, which is on the FPV canopy right here, so that just plugs onto that battery. And then finally here, the video, ground, and voltage from the camera I have going to an extension cable right here. So I'll just plug that in. And then the other end of that extension cable goes on the top pins on the MinimOSD right here. Okay, so they're both on there. Then the camera will just go down in the hole here with a piece of foam behind it, and I can do that. Alright, so now all we got to do is work on the wing, which I'm already starting. So let's move over to the wing and we'll look at the wiring that's going to plug in here. Now looking at the wing, here's the wing tip out here. Here's the digital 400 milliwatt video transmitter right here, and the Dragon Link dipole antenna. And that antenna came with a flexible cable that I just have screwed onto the VTX right there. Then we have the VTX wiring harness right here, which has 12 volts, ground, video, and audio. And I've just run that in a slot in the foam down to the end here and then laminated over it. Looking at the base of the wing, we have the servo cables right here. One is for the aileron and the other is for the flap. Then right here we have the voltage wire for the LEDs embedded in the wing. None of these have anything to do with the video transmitter. These cables down here are for the video transmitter. Now this one here has the 12 volts and ground on it, and this one has the video and audio. The yellow wire is for the video and the white wire is for the audio. So these plug into the sockets coming out of the fuselage that I showed you earlier. Now I tried this video setup with the transmitter and antenna on the FPV canopy, and it didn't really work out because it interfered with the GPS. So that's why I moved it out onto the wing like this. Okay, let's put the wing on the plane, hook up all the wires, and check the video system to see if it works. Okay, I've got the main flight battery plugged in and the PixHawk is activated. I've plugged in the two wires here from the video transmitter. Now I just need to go ahead and plug in the video battery. I have the receiver right here and it's hooked to my monitor. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and plug in the video battery. Okay, video battery is plugged in. Let's put the canopy up here for now. And now we can go ahead and look at the monitor. And we can see the OSD is working. So it looks like everything is going according to plan. So in the next video I'll be doing the maiden flight or flights. And I may also do a video on finalizing the LEDs for night flying. So stay tuned for those. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notify checkbox. Thanks for watching.